Hi, welcome back to Tao of Twang. I'm Dave. So, those of you that have been around for a minute, this channel doesn't feature a lot of flashy editing and clever titles, and I guess the cleverness and the flashiness just are built into the whole thing or something, right? You know, you gotta you gotta poke around for it a little bit more, I guess. Um, So yeah, I enjoy that stuff on other channels and stuff. I just don't have a lot of skills with that, and I don't I don't know, manage the channel in that manner of kind of professionalism with the presentation and everything. But if I were, trying to sell an idea here about this taking one note and jamming you know, in a relatively simple process, by watching a 12 or 15-minute video, this is one that I would feel, okay about that claim. I think that would be honest and fair. Now, that being said, the nuances and the physicality of it and, how you stylize it, this this is it uh, applies to anyone at any player at any level, not just the beginning idea. But I do like to put out things from time to time that really get you on board, something you can really sink your teeth into, and something that will work. That's what people usually want when they go out looking for how to do anything, right? Well, why? Why should I spend time on this? Is it going to work? Just show me the part that I need to know. Well, this is kind of a little southern rock type groove. We're using a D major pentatonic scale here. Not even going to have to really concern yourself with that, um, but it is within that framework. We're going to stay right in this position here, and I'm just going to break this down, go over pretty much what I did in that intro, put it under the microscope, and get you going with this backing track from this anchored root note D, and then kind of stepping out a couple of steps in each direction, start doing some bends and some hammers and some rhythmic stuff, and you're up and running. That's the plan today. I'll probably do a follow-up on this where we'll go down and cover like a little bit more of a zone of the pentatonic. Today it's all going to be right here. So now this progression is D, C, G. Okay, I'll have a decent length loop for you of this at the end of this. So, step one, off we go. That note D is on the G string on the 7th fret. Slide it. Give it a little jiggle. Just hang out there for a minute. You can do it while I'm doing it too. You don't have to play the same thing I'm playing. Mixing, holding it, sustaining it, as well as multiple picks of the rhythm. It's our first note that we're going to add. Several times on each one of these. Bending that one. You can play right over the top of me right here if you want. It'll work out. Now I'm going to drop down to the 9th fret of that D string. spend time. Now we're just going to drop down and add that 7th fret of the D string right below that last one. Hammering those two and then up to that root is good. Or pulling it off. One more piece here. Okay, I got my toe tapping. I noticed it about halfway through, and I was like, I don't know how much of that's going to show up. So we're going to go for it today. We're not going to start over because of that. So if it's in there, hopefully it matches up with the kick drum or something. So a little bit of this without the track, and then get you right to your track. Okay, so this is kind of a, less talk and more action on my part there today. This is a different approach. So here's that process. Then I added the 1 2 doors up from it. Okay, and you just use your own intuition about like how those notes fit into that progression on different chords and stuff, but they'll all either fit real well or lead to the next note in some way that's really musical if you really lend yourself to this process. And then bending that one. Okay, so we kind of went through all of those, faster here just a minute ago. I don't want to, let you. So when I say bend, in this case we're bending a full bend. Doesn't always have to be, but we're trying to get basically to this note. That's how you can kind of check that with your ear. So a full bend means that it's the equivalent of 2 measures, right? 2 frets, sorry. 2 doors up. Okay, then we added this note going kind of down from that root, but in this box. Then we went to that. The thing that's important here, one thing, anything that you do with this, and if you're already really familiar and kind of comfortable with these shapes and positions, then just go for it. That's great. But you'll still benefit from hanging out several times around with the restriction of just those notes. That will still help you. You'll be able to squeeze more musical stuff out of there. For beginners, that adding one note at a time just gives you a chance to scaffold up to, and you're really just kind of learning that scale. But instead of just kind of playing scale notes in order, you're already immersed in that process of making real-time musical selections based on your own language and feeling. Hammer and pull off. You need to hang out on that. Even if you're, already doing a lot of this stuff, that's going to help you. there's no end to how many different things you can do just with those 3 or 4 notes, right? Especially once you put the hammers and the bends and things in it. Then, now this is going to be, challenging for many. Is I didn't really talk about this note specifically because when we bend this one, we're getting to that note. But you could certainly, fret that one as well sometimes, and in the same kind of system. But when you bend this one, and that takes some practice. If you want to work out just the physical maneuvering of that, turn the track off. Leave it on if you want, but really. And one more piece of advice on this, don't aim for the perfection of the tuning of it at first. I mean, that's great that you have an ear that's able to detect that, and that bothers you that it's not in tune or whatever. But, ease up on yourself on that and just do it, even if you kind of feel like you're not always, some of that stuff sounds better than you think. And it's more important to just go ahead and get through the exercise of it than it is to stop and kind of, beat yourself up over exactly how you're doing it. Okay. That's really important in a lot of aspects of practicing. But then the last thing I'll say about this is you can do pretty much everything we were doing before with that one down. And if you include it as a harmony, great. If you miss it, no harm, really, right? It's just kind of there, pedaling that note. And that note has some nice theoretical reasons why it sounds cool with all of these other notes. We don't need to, we might mention that in part 2 a little bit. But for now, if it sounds good, you're all set. So just a little bit more, and I'll get you to the loop on this. Okay? Hope you enjoy it. Let me know how it goes.